So again, you get me in relaxed version. I can't do much right now, but I can sit around and watch videos and make videos, so I figured why not if I'm feeling up to it. Also not filming on my fanciest equipment because that's all upstairs in my office, and while I have the cameras down here, having to set up everything was too much for me, so we're doing phone photography, videography today. Anyway, I wanted to talk about something I noticed. So while I've been sitting here with not a lot to do, I've been going through my Lightroom catalog on my computer and just deleting extra files because I was starting to run out of space. I am still weird about deleting files even after I've delivered weddings and everything, unless it's like things like, I'll delete a lot of the like silly, like the not as important photos, like the reception, dancing photos, all that. I'll delete that pretty quickly because I have them backed up multiple other places. For whatever reason, I like saving them in my Lightroom cloud because especially the main wedding photos, sometimes I like to look at my editing style and kind of go through and re-edit some photos. And sometimes it helps if I have different cameras because I use Fuji and Canon to look at that. Now, when I was deleting some, I didn't even realize I had done this. When I started Fuji, I was still on the idea path that I needed to edit all raw photos, even though that was the whole point of me getting Fuji, was to not have to do that. So I had for a while been importing all the RAWs, like I would do JPEG plus RAW, which I still do just in case, but I was importing all the RAWs after every trip or even like a day thing that we did. I had an entire day at the Renaissance Fair in my Lightroom catalog, and I'm like, I don't need those photos. I was very happy, like I used a pretty extreme film simulation that day, but honestly it made it look good for what it was, and I'm happy with that. So it was just funny seeing that and all these other little things where I was like, why did I put these in Lightroom? Because like I didn't edit them ever. They were never touched. They were all under the non-edited tab. So it actually has been like really interesting to see. Now in my professional work, I do still always put all the files, like the raw files in Lightroom, and just run through and see if there's anything I want to change. But as far as like casual shooting, everyday stuff, even the other day I did a car show. I shot almost the entire thing in classic Cuban negative. I tried switching to summer chrome for a little bit because it was kind of a gloomy day, but honestly classic Cuban negative looks so good on cars. So I ended up doing that for the entire day for this, and those are the photos I delivered. Didn't edit them, that's what they got. And it was like a volunteer thing too, so it was fine. But I found that honestly every other day, my vacations, everything, I'm so happy with the JPEGs that I get that I'm not editing. And that was the huge selling point for me switching from like Olympus and Canon to Fujifilm. Now, I switched to Canon first from Olympus because I wanted full frame, I wanted the Canon look, and I still love my Canon cameras. But I have noticed even times recently when I've gone back and used them, I haven't actually been as overly impressed like compared to my Fuji, even though Fuji's an APS-C sensor. I've been just as impressed with both cameras, like equally. So it's just been really interesting because now I have a small setup to take when I go traveling, and then I don't even have to edit photos. The entire trip with my family to the beach last month, like 2 weeks, I did take most of my Fuji, well I took all my Fuji gear because I was doing my sister's wedding while we were down there too, which I did all on Fuji. Still have not made a video on that. Because I had all of those cameras, I set them all on the same film simulation and I just used them all the whole trip. And I love all the photos, I didn't even touch them. I will say the only time I ever decide to touch them, which is why I do the RAW plus JPEG, is because I do the RAW conversion in the camera, which is where inside the camera you can do, you just click into it and it says RAW conversion, you go and it lets you change the settings on the file and it creates a new JPEG with the settings you've chosen. So say like I shot in like Acros and then changed my mind and went, oh, I kind of want to know what that looked like in color, I can just go change it right there. It's great. And yeah, you have the RAWs to put in Lightroom as well, but I've found that I actually prefer just doing the little bit of edits in my camera with the RAW conversion. It's a pain that you can't just apply them to multiple photos. That would be an amazing thing for them to add, because when I have to go do it on a whole set of photos, it's a little frustrating, but I've found that I like those edits and how that turns out better than when I actually take the photos into Lightroom and edit them. And I know that's more of a Fuji thing because I still edit all my Canon photos in Lightroom. I don't do any like presets in my Canon cameras. I've tried to do it a little bit with like setting my Kelvin and it's just not the same. But I just thought that that was huge. Like that's a huge win for me as far as like my storage and things, because I'm not, and just time. in 2019, I took a trip to England for 2 weeks, and that's when I was diehard Olympus, and I loved my Olympus cameras. They're still so cool. They're just not as practical for me. I do take a lot of photos. I will admit that. I do love taking lots of different photos, and if I have multiple cameras, I'm going to take them on all the cameras. So I took a lot of photos, and on top of one, having to get them off my camera into Lightroom, which yes, I could use the Bluetooth, which is really slow on older cameras. I will say the X-Trans 5 having the newer, faster Bluetooth is a huge win, because when I have to export from my XM5, it's still really slow. But I remember having issues with one, getting them off the camera, even with my little SD card reader, uploading them into Lightroom on my phone, because that's what I took with me, which then you have to let them upload. There's like no Wi-Fi in these hotels half the time, or it's very slow upload speeds. Like I learned that just in Florida, which that was at my aunt and uncle's beach house. Very slow Wi-Fi or upload speeds. So that was an issue. And then having to then, once they get in there, edit them all, then download them back all. I felt like I didn't even get to enjoy the photos and just posting them while I was on the trip because of that. So that's something that Fuji has made huge for me. And I've done so many trips with my Fuji cameras that I wish I'd had them sooner. I really do. There's so many times where I go, man, if I had had these cameras sooner, would have been great, because I got my first one right after our wedding, so December of 22, and I've been obsessed ever since. And I will say it's funny how I originally was all classic chrome, just classic chrome, because I had an X100F and I didn't want to deal with having to re-input the like white balance and everything, so I just stuck with just classic chrome. And I still go back to that occasionally and go, wow, I do like how it looks, but I have definitely gotten more into like that classic chrome, but adding a little bit of color back in. But when I do take it, like today, I just decided I'm gonna take photos around the house because that's all I can really do right now. And I'm just gonna use classic chrome and that's it, no other settings. And I was like, I really like how these look. I haven't done that in a while. So I just love that I don't have to edit. I just get to enjoy the photos right away and share them right away, which is one of the reasons I did pre-order the X1/2 and the XE5. I'm really excited for the X1/2 for that reason. I think it'll be a simple, like, upload really fast to, like, Instagram stories kind of thing. And yes, I know the price for that is insane. I'm aware of that. And that makes me a little hesitant of if I'm going to back out of my pre-order. I will say, I really want to try it, but at the same time, I'm kind of unsure. I'm expecting it to be around the quality of, like, my XQ2, which is an old Fuji digital camera, like, compact, or, like, yeah, something like that is probably what I'm expecting, or maybe around my G7X, like that kind of quality, because that's about the sensor size. I did pre-order the XE5, and it is going to replace this camera and my X-T50, because I realized we're going on to some bigger trips in the next few years, and that will be incredible to only take my X100 and then my XE5 and a couple lenses, and that's it. Like, I love my X Pro 3, but it is not my first camera to take because it's heavier, it's bulkier, it has the annoying screen that's hidden. Like, it's fun, but this is my, like, when I want a fun day of shooting camera, not my take on vacation camera. And the X-T4 is only for my professional shoots. That's the only time I use it, so. But yeah, so that's my thoughts. But I've been able to really clear out a lot of my Lightroom library because I didn't actually need a lot of those. And it's been nice to see the change of those were older trips, and now all of a sudden none of them are in there because I've realized I don't need the RAWs. I wait long enough before I delete everything off my camera, but then I'm like, I'm good. So that's been huge for me. Just random thoughts I've had today while I was going through all my stuff.